guys, this is my score of the week. Picked myself up an Akai 4000 DS Mark II, 3-head, 1 micron gap head, 3-head reel-to-reel tape deck. It appears to be working. We're going to check this thing out and see whether it actually does work. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the heads on this unit. So to do that, we'll turn it on its back so we can get easy access to the heads. And you'll see that the heads on this thing are actually filthy. Looks like they've never ever been cleaned. So let's get our cotton swab here and we'll clean these heads the correct way. And then I'm going to load up a tape and we're going to test this thing out. So I'll just put it into play mode so that I can get the tape guide out of the way, and we'll clean the heads. So this one is the playback head. The 3 heads on here are the erase head, the record head, and the playback head. And the reason why it has 3 heads is for each head is optimized for its own specific function. So hopefully the heads aren't worn and they're just dirty. And they are very dirty. As you can see, it's like this thing's never been cleaned. As that is pretty disgusting. You know, as I'm cleaning the heads on this thing, it almost feels oily, like somebody may have put something oily on these heads, like WD-40. But they're cleaning up very nicely. And I don't feel any wear whatsoever on this machine. This is fantastic. Now, of course, Akai was the company that made tape recorders with the infamous glass and crystal heads, the glass ferrite heads. And I have one of those. I have a GX260D. And of course, the strength to the glass head was that it would never wear out, right? Glass is very hard. The problem with glass heads was the glass heads were very hard on tapes, and your tapes would literally peel off. If you had an old tape, especially if it was a master tape like out of a studio, you'd never put one of those on one of those glass head machines because it would destroy your tape. And I've had clients that have wanted me to transfer reel-to-reel tapes, and they see my GX260 and they walk away. They say, "No, you're not. I'm not playing my session tape, my master 2-track session tape. I'm not letting you transfer that to digital on that machine because the heads on that machine were really bad." The idea seemed good at the time. Heads that'll never wear down, but again, if you're putting a one and only tape on that thing, I can't believe how it's almost like there's an oil film on here. And, I mean, it's a lot of crap that's coming off. Look at what's come off these so far. Right? There's a lot of I haven't even got to the erase head yet. Anyway, I'd hollow out my older 1710W. Say, "Here, you want me to play your tape on this machine?" And well, the problem with my 1710W was it had so many hours on it that there was a groove worn in the head, because the head was actually worn on that machine because it had so many hours on it. So I'm quite happy that I found a machine that looks like it's in pretty good shape, other than the fact that it hasn't been cleaned since, you know, forever. Now, I don't know if the machine works. I know that the motor works on it. I know that the tape spools work. I don't know whether the electronics work. We're going to find that out momentarily here when I finish cleaning this thing up. Some crud still on this tape guide here. I'm just going to scrape that off with my fingernail if I can. Looks like the last tape that was on this was a tape that was falling apart. Hopefully my tapes won't do the same. Okay, let's turn this thing over and see whether it will work. To mark the occasion, I have a brand new factory sealed Ampex 541 tape for your viewing pleasure. We're going to open this tape. This tape has never been opened. And it's not the only one I've got. I've got a few others. I think I got a whole case of these things that are factory sealed still. But I can record on this and know that I'm not going to wipe out something that I might not want to wipe. So we'll get the tape going here. We'll turn on the power. And we'll just put the tape reel on here. Thread the machine up. This does have an auto stop on it as well, which is this lever here, which I think you can turn that off on these. If it's the same as the 1710W, you can actually disable the auto stop. You got sound on sound, tape monitor and source, and let's get some music going here. We'll just turn on the DAT machine. I'll put this thing in monitor mode so that I can hear the inputs. That's the mic input, this is the line input. And make sure there's actually sound playing. There's not yet. There we go. We have sound. Let me turn on the sound system. Plug it in. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to clean these controls. We'll use some DEoxIT on that, but let's just see how this thing works for starters. Control's really bad. Let's we'll go to the next track here, get it queued up. Okay, to put this thing into record, I'm going to pause button there, push the record button in. Now if I put this into monitor, we'll actually be able to hear it after it's already been recorded. That's the beauty of a 3-head deck, is you can actually monitor your recordings after they've been made. So we'll put it in tape mode and we'll release the pause. There's the source. shape. Okay. That's a little better. Strip. There's the source. I would say it works. We're gonna have to take this thing apart, which I'm gonna do next, and we're gonna get in there with some DEoxIT. We'll put some DEoxIT on those controls. This will be my second test of DEoxIT. We'll see how that cleans up these controls. But this thing's working, and I know it's working because I'm playing the tape back, right? That's the source mode. That's coming off the DAT. And that switches over to the playback head. So I'm able to monitor the recording after it's made. Stop this. You can hear the sound is still leaking through my tape monitor. Switch a bit here. If I rewind the tape, we'll check out the tape breaks, see how well it stops. Perfect. No tape spill. Fast forward. Excellent. And release the pause. Let's get this thing apart and clean those controls. As all I can see wrong with this is the controls need to be cleaned, and the glue needs to be redone on this one for the now that should stop. Oh, you know what? That's how that works. So if the power switch is off, that turns the machine on. If the power switch is on, it bypasses the auto shut off. So that's auto stop. That's how it works. So on a machine like this, you don't even have to turn it on. You just grab your tape, thread your tape around, pull the auto stop lever up, oops, I'm not quite threaded correctly there. There you go. And I'll rewind. The machine stops automatically. Doesn't get much simpler than that. Let's get the thing apart and take a look at the inside of this fine little unit. As you can see from the back, it's a multi-voltage unit, and it'll operate on 50 or 60 hertz. Now this uses an AC synchronous motor, so there's no speed adjustments to do. The speed is regulated by the incoming AC line frequency, and it's got a dual pulley on the front. There's a little screw here that you turn that with a screwdriver, and it pops out and it shifts the belt from the 60 hertz pulley to the 50 hertz pulley. It's the same as my my old 1710W. My GX260, you actually have to take it apart and move the belt manually. It doesn't have a pulley to do it. It uses AC motors as well. Most of these reel-to-reel units used an AC synchronous motor. That way they could just use one motor and a single belt and some idler tires to control the whole unit. But as you can see, there's nothing wrong with the rubber on here. The belt is in good shape, which is surprising. I fully expected that I was going to have to change the belt on it, but that is not the case. The belt appears to be just fine. Now, this should just lift out of the chassis, of the cabinet. Should be able to just lift this whole thing out. There might be some screws that have to come out too, but I think there probably is a couple screws in the bottom that have to come out. Yes, there are two more screws in the bottom here that hold the chassis in, and then the chassis should just lift out. What's one of the nice things about these units. In fact, I probably could have just taken out these screws and accessed the controls. But what the heck? This unit is in almost perfect condition. There's one little chip right here in the corner to the vinyl veneer cabinet, but other than that, cosmetically it's in good shape. There's no big scratches or anything on it. It's in really good condition considering the age of this unit. So the back comes off just like that. But the only thing that really ever goes wrong with machines like this is occasionally you have a belt that wears out here, right? This is for the tape counter. This is a little bit sloppy, this belt, but other than that, it seems to be in pretty good shape. You've got the main capstan belt here, which is in good shape on this one here. And this capstan belt is not loose. It's actually in pretty good shape. I don't even see any flat spots on it, but I'll give it a good rundown. And here's our main motor. So we'll turn the unit over on the side, and then we can access the controls. And it's really easy to get in here with our cleaner. This is going to be a breeze to clean this. So I'll get my can of DEoxIT out here, and I'm going to use, I guess I could use this stuff here, the D100. We'll spray some of this, and this is a metered shot, so we'll spray a shot of this in here and rotate the controls, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll turn it over onto the other side so that I can get into the top control. So we'll give a shot of this stuff. I'm going to do the same for the other control. I'm just going to turn the unit on its other side so that I can access the pot a little easier. We'll rotate the controls. And then I can test this unit before I even put the thing back together. All I gotta do is loop my inputs through to my outputs, and I will be able to hear if I clean the controls well enough. So now we're ready for testing. I've got it hooked up. I've got my mode in source mode, my tape monitor mode in source mode, and I can no noise. Same with the other control. Switch back here. Wonder what that switch is for. Pull for mono use. Okay, there's another switch back here I need to clean. There's a switch back here, a mono stereo switch. Might use the other cleaner with the high pressure nozzle to get into that other switch. So I used the DEoxIT D5 just because it's got the high pressure nozzle on it. It was able to blast some cleaner into that switch because the switch is a little bit harder to get at. And I think while we've got the thing apart, I'll do all the other switches as well. We've got the unplug it to do that. We've got the low noise switch, the equalizer switch, SOS, and tape monitor. Well, I've got them apart. I might as well give those switches a shot as well. Very easy to get into these switches. It's one of the easiest machines I've worked on to actually get into the switches and put some cleaner in there. Give these bias controls a little bit of a clean too. I don't want to move those too much because they're set, so I don't want to disturb those ones too much. Okay, I think it's time to put it back together and give it another test. Goes back together just like it came apart. That's the 4 screws at the back and the 2 at the bottom. Very, very simple. I've got another reel-to-reel I'm going to service here, by the way. It's been sitting here for months. It's an old, I think it's a Radio Shack. Belongs to an old friend of mine who I used to work with him in the TV business. In fact, he was the guy that directed the Chuck Berry concert that I worked on back in 1980. And he worked at a radio as well. And I've got his old, it's a Radio Shack tape deck. I don't know who made that. It's either going to be a Hitachi or a Sony, I believe. But anyway, I've got his old reel-to-reel machine. He brought it to me months ago. He's moved away, so not really in a rush to get it back. But it's going to be one on the back burner. It needs belts on it, so it's been one that's been kind of sitting on the back burner there for a bit. But it will be serviced, just not quite as quick as this one because this one's mine. Okay, got it back together. Stand it back up. Now I don't have to thread it past that auto stop lever if I don't intend to use the auto stop. I can just thread it like that. We'll set our levels. Start this recording, cue the DAT machine back, let it cue up, and it'll start playing on its own. Switch. If I set the EQ switch to 3 3/4 instead of 7 1/2, it actually changes the equalization. Puts a little more treble in. There's the source. And the tape speed on this is actually changed by unscrewing this larger capstan shaft, storing it on that spindle. Then it operates at 3 3/4, which is another difference from my 1710W has a 2-speed motor, but it also has a dual capstan position, so I can pull the capstan shaft off and it becomes 1 7/8 in the low speed and 3 3/4 in the fast speed, and with the capstan adapter on it's 3 3/4 in the low speed, 7 1/2 in the high speed. My GX260 also has a dual speed motor. It's a 6-head auto reverse, so it'll play both and record both sides of the tape. But again, it has those glass ferrite heads, which really sounded like a great idea when they came out until they started destroying tapes. And I mean, the heads last forever on them. They'll never wear out. I think they were guaranteed at the time. Akai had an ad running back in the early 1980s, and they said you could play this thing 24 hours a day, and the heads were guaranteed for like 20 years, a 24-hour-a-day play. They would never wear out. But the tapes would. They would shred the oxide, and they do. They're actually quite bad, and you'll be playing a tape, an old tape, and you'll hear it start to screech, and the heads will get contaminated, and it'll just scrape the oxide off of the tape, which was a real problem with all those glass heads. It didn't matter whether it was on a cassette deck either. They had the same crappy heads on cassette decks. They last forever. They weren't great as far as sonic performance. They didn't have as good a frequency response as, say, a Permalay head, but they would last. They'd last forever. Anyway, this one's got conventional heads on it, so I don't have to worry about oxide shedding on this thing. And this is great because I have several tapes. I've got probably, I'm going to say 50 tapes that my late father recorded back in the 60s and 70s, and I'm sure that there's probably some pretty good stuff on it that I've never listened to because I didn't trust my old GX260 as far as it wrecking the tapes, the one and only copy of the tapes that I've got. Anyway, that's this machine. Everything's working, even the tape counter is working on here. I reset it, it's counting. It's at 110 now. And here's something else I just discovered on this machine that is absolutely brilliant. When you go into fast forward, nothing unusual happens. It just goes straight into fast forward. When you go into rewind, it momentarily shuts off the power to the main motor so that you're not slamming the machine into full rewind and causing stress on the tape. Watch what happens if we look at the capstan shaft here as I slowly engage the rewind, and you'll actually see it stop as I turn the knob, the dial. Okay, first it'll click, and the motor shuts off, see? And then if I continue, the motor turns on. So what that does is that when you throw it into rewind, especially if you've been going forward, you don't want to stretch your tape. So it actually takes torque off the motor so that you're not throwing full torque onto rewind when you snap it in. That way it gives it a slower, a soft start when you go into rewind. Pretty neat. Now that the video is just about over here, I'm going to make an announcement. We're going to run a little bit of a contest today. I'm going to give away a kit of DEoxIT, basically the same kit that I received, which is going to consist of DEoxIT D5, DEoxIT D100. All you need to do to enter the giveaway, and this is what your prize is going to consist of. It's going to consist of DEoxIT D5 spray with the perfect straw, which is this piece here. Part number D5 S6 and the flexible extension for the perfect straw, of course. And DEoxIT D100 needle series dispenser. So basically the same products that I was sent. They're gonna give that away. And here's what you need to do. There's 3 things you need to do. You need to like Keg's Facebook page, and that's at www.facebook.com/Keg Laboratories. That's CAIG Laboratories. Like their Facebook page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and comment on the video that you've liked Keg's Facebook page and shared the video. And this offer is only valid for residents in Canada and the US. I gotta stop that because the Beatles playing here now, you see. But I can't let that one play, or my video is going to get blocked pretty quick. So we'll just rewind this tape a bit. We'll play some more from the Music Bakery in the background. Okay, so the products can only be shipped in Canada or USA due to regulations to shipping because it's aerosol. So again, like Keg's Facebook page, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and comment on this video that you have liked Keg's Facebook page and you've shared the video. And we'll let this contest run here for a few weeks, and I'll notify the winner and notify Keg, and you will receive your complimentary DEoxIT to enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you real soon in the next video. Bye for now.